If there is one thing I have learned from working with Pinterest for a long time, it is this. You don't always need to find something completely new, guys. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is look at what is already working, understand why it is working, and then double down on it. And that is exactly what I am doing with my content for the next 90 days. In fact, I'm thinking beyond just the next 90 days. I'm thinking about this quarter, then the quarter after that, and then the quarter after that. Because Pinterest is not really a platform where I want to constantly chase what is happening today. I want to be thinking about what people are going to be searching for weeks and months from now. So today I want to walk you through how I am planning my next 90 days of content, how crafts became a bigger part of my strategy, how I use Pinterest trends, and how I decide what topics are worth creating next. And if you're a blogger or content creator trying to grow through Pinterest, you can use this exact thought process for your own website. But before we get into that, I want to quickly mention something. If you want to go deeper into Pinterest marketing, I have my Pinterest Blueprint ebook. This isn't one of those basic Pinterest guides that tells you to create a business account, make a few boards, and start pinning. I packed the blueprint with the kind of practical Pinterest marketing information that I use when I actually work on Pinterest strategy. There is information inside that you're simply not going to find in most free Pinterest marketing courses, guys. So if you want to take Pinterest more seriously, check out the Pinterest Blueprint Guide. The link is there right in the description below. And if you want to do everything yourself, I also offer done for you Pinterest services along with my other Pinterest services. You can find all of those through my store link in the description as well. Okay, so let's dive right into the strategy. Start with what is already working for you guys. The first thing I want you to do is stop trying to reinvent your entire content strategy every few months. Look at your own website. What topics are already getting attention? What content is getting Pinterest traffic? What types of posts are getting saves? What subject keep showing up in your better performing content? That is your starting point, guys. And this is something that has become especially important for me. My website, theportablelaundry.com, is primarily built around Pinterest marketing and Pinterest services. That's the business, and that's what I want people to know me for. But something interesting has already happened, guys. Craft content has continued to bring traffic to my website, and not just one random craft topic. I have seen certain craft categories repeatedly working for me, such as polymer clay craft, air dry clay craft, kids craft, seasonal crafts, animal crafts, and so on. So instead of looking at that and saying, well, my website is about Pinterest marketing, so I should not be creating more craft content, I look at it differently. We fight something that is already working, guys. Why you need to fight? If Pinterest is telling me that people are interested in that type of content, I want to understand it better, and then I want to double down on it. That doesn't mean I'm abandoning Pinterest marketing. Far from it. Pinterest marketing is still the core of what I do, but I can build content around the things that are already proving themselves. That's a much better starting point than sitting down every Monday morning and asking myself, what should I write about? So don't just look at today, guys. The second part of my planning is looking ahead. And this is where I think a lot of bloggers get completely wrong on Pinterest. We tend to create content for what people want right now, but Pinterest users are planners. Someone searching for Halloween crafts doesn't necessarily start searching on October 30th. They may start weeks or even months in advance. The same thing happens with Christmas, back to school, Thanksgiving, fall decorating, summer activities, even things like classroom activities. People discover an idea, then they save it. They come back later, and sometimes they don't even make it until months after they have first discovered it. So when I plan my content, I don't just ask what is trending today, I always ask what will people want 3 months from now. That's a completely different question, guys. So here's the simple way I think about. I break my content planning into three parts. Look back, look ahead, create early. That's basically the entire system, guys. First, look back at what has already worked, then look ahead at the next 90 days, and finally, create content before the demand reaches its peak. Let's break that down, guys. So, guys, the first thing that I like to do is look at the existing winners. Start with your own content, guys. For example, in my case, I don't start with somebody else's website. I don't start with a random list of trending keywords. I start with my own winners. For example, if I notice that clay content is consistently getting attention, I don't just create another generic post. I always ask, what else can I do with this topic? If clay crafts are working, could seasonal clay crafts work? For example, could Halloween clay crafts work? Could Christmas clay crafts work? Could school related clay craft projects work? Asking those questions ensures that you're not randomly producing the content, guys. I'm building around an existing content signal, and that is a huge difference. The next thing that I like to do is work with calendar, guys. I look at the next 3 months. What holidays are coming? What seasons are changing? What school events are coming? What celebrations are coming? What activities will parents be planning? What type of crafts will people want during that period? Ask such type of questions, guys. For me, this is particularly useful because crafts are very seasonal. A craft that might look ordinary today can become extremely relevant when the season arrives. Take Halloween for example. You don't want to wait until Halloween week to start creating Halloween content. By then you are already too late. I would rather have the article published, have the pins created, have the content circulating, and give Pinterest time to understand what that content is about before demand really takes off. That's the mindset, guys. Next up is Pinterest trends. I don't use Pinterest trends simply to ask what is trending today, guys. That's too narrow. I want to see where interest is heading. Is a topic starting to climb? Is it seasonal? Does it have a predictable peak? Is there a related topic that is beginning to grow? That's much more interesting to me, guys. For example, let's say Pinterest trends shows growing interest around a particular fall craft. I don't immediately create a generic post just because I saw the trend. I start asking questions. What exactly are people searching for? Is it a broad topic? Is there a more specific angle? Is there a particular material, a particular audience, a particular holiday, a particular style, a particular color, a particular type of project? This is where the opportunity starts getting interesting, guys. Now, with that said, don't stop at the broad keyword, guys. This is another thing I want you to pay close attention to. Let's say the broad keyword is fall crafts. That's huge, but huge isn't always better. I would go into Pinterest and start searching that phrase. Look at the suggestions Pinterest gives you. Then search for those suggestions. Look at the related searches. Look at the languages being used in the pin. Look at what Pinterest is associating with that topic using tools like Pintendo. Now maybe I discovered fall crafts for kid, fall paper crafts, fall clay crafts, fall leaf crafts, fall classroom crafts, fall crafts of preschoolers. Now I have several directions and I can go one step further, guys. Let's say I already know clay crafts are working for me. Suddenly fall clay crafts becomes much more interesting than simply chasing fall crafts. That's how I like approach keyword research. Start broad, then narrow down, and most importantly, let Pinterest itself show you the language and relationships around the topics. You don't always need another expensive keyword tool to tell you what Pinterest is already telling you. Then combine the signals. This is where everything comes together, guys. Let's say I have three pieces of information. First, my own website tells me that clay crafts are working. Second, Pinterest trends tells me that a seasonal topic is beginning to grow. Third, Pinterest search sessions show me several specific variations around that topic. Now I have something to work with. That's much stronger than simply saying, oh, these keywords look popular. I have an existing content category, I have seasonal demand, and I have specific keyword angles. That gives me a much better reason to create the article. And this is where I double down, guys. And this is really the main lesson I want to get across. When something works, don't immediately move on because you are afraid of repeating yourself. Double down intelligently. If one type of content works, create related content. If one seasonal topic works, explore the adjacent seasonal topics. If one audience responds well, create more content for that audience. If one content format works, test variations of that format. You don't need to publish the exact same article 20 times. You need to build a cluster around what is already showing potential. That's what I'm doing with crafts, guys. I'm not saying I am suddenly a craft website. I'm just saying that this category is working. So let's see how far we can take it. Think in quarters, guys. I don't want this to be a one time exercise. That's why I'm thinking in quarters. I'll plan the next 90 days, then look at what happened, what worked, what did not, which topic gained tractions, which seasonal topics started early, which content categories surprised me. Then I take those lessons into the next quarter and I do it again. So instead of constantly starting from zero, each quarter gives me more information for the next one. That's the compounding effect I'm looking for. That being said, don't abandon current traffic completely. There is one important balance here, guys. I'm not saying you should only create seasonal content. You still need content that can work right now. So if I see an opportunity that can bring current traffic, I'm not going to ignore it just because it isn't 3 months away. But I want a portion of my content working for the future as well. Think of it like this. Some content is for today, some content is for next month, and some content is for the season after that. That gives you a much healthier content pipeline. So guys, for my own website, this is the direction I am taking. Pinterest marketing remains the main business. That includes Pinterest education, Pinterest services, and helping people understand how to use Pinterest Pinterest to grow their websites and businesses, but I'm also doubling down on the craft categories that have already shown the potential. And I'm going to make those crafts more seasonal, more specific, and more aligned with what Pinterest users are likely to search for next couple of quarters. That includes things like clay crafts, kids crafts, paper crafts, animal crafts, and seasonal DIY projects. I'm not throwing everything at the wall. I'm looking at what has already given me a signal and building from there. That being said, I hardly focus on this website, guys, as I have many other websites that are dependent on Pinterest, which means I have other projects which are dependent on Pinterest to drive lots of traffic to those projects. But since I'm testing something, I thought of showing you this website. So the main focus of this website, the portablelaundry.com, is to actually teach Pinterest marketing and provide Pinterest marketing services. So with this case study, if things work for me, it's well and good. If it does not work, I'm okay with that. So the main purpose is to actually share some of the best practices that I have been following on this website. And honestly, guys, I think this applies beyond Pinterest. If you have a blog, YouTube channel, Instagram account, or any other content platform, you probably already have clues about what your audience wants. So sometimes we just don't pay attention to them. We keep looking for the next big idea, but the next big idea might actually be sitting inside something you already created. So look backward, find the answers, then look forward, find the upcoming demand, then connect the two. That's the strategy, guys. What worked before plus what is coming next equals to what I want to create now. And then repeat that process every quarter, guys. Guys, if you want to learn Pinterest marketing beyond the basic free course advice, check out my Pinterest Blueprint ebook. I have created it specifically for people who want a deeper understanding of Pinterest marketing and want access to practical information that goes beyond the usual beginner level tips. I'll leave the link in description, guys. And if you want me to handle the Pinterest work for you, I also have done for you Pinterest services and other services available through my store. You'll find that link in the description too. And if you're working on your own 90-day Pinterest content plan, I'd love to know what you're doubling down on. Are you going deeper into seasonal content? Are you creating more crafts? Are you focusing on specific Pinterest niche? Or are you taking something that's already working and building an entire content cluster around it? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this helpful, subscribe because I'm going to keep sharing what I'm testing and what I'm learning and how I'm using Pinterest to grow both my content and my business. I'll see you in the next one.